Beginners can be excused for not knowing things. They are beginners after all, and we've all been there. But there's some things that I wish I had known from day one, right from the beginning, and I'm going to share some of those with you today. And if you are newer to woodworking and you're wondering what tools you need and what size of a space you need, I've got a download for you. The link to that is down below. I've also got a wide selection of free plans. A link to those is also down below. This may sound a little insulting and way too basic, but I promise you, you've got to think about this. A pencil has a thickness. The lead is in the center, and then depending on what type of pencil you use, that lead is either surrounded by wood or plastic. When you're using a straight edge of some sort to mark a line, the pencil doesn't just push up flat against it. The width of the pencil will cause the lead to mark a distance off to the side of where you wanted the mark, and this makes your cuts inaccurate. Also, if you change the angle of the pencil as you make a mark, it deviates from your measurement and you don't have a straight line. So to make accurate marks, always put the pencil on the mark and then slide the straight edge up to it. This accounts for the width of the pencil, and then keep the pencil at the same angle all the way through the line. I like to sharpen the pencil to be flat on one side, and then I tilt the pencil outward until it's the lead that comes in contact with the straight edge and not the surrounding wood or plastic. Tape measures have what's called a hook at the end. This hook is made of thin metal and can easily get bent, making your measurements really inaccurate. To avoid any inaccuracy of the hook, slide the tape forward a bit and measure from the 1 or 2 inch mark. That way you know the distance is correct. Just don't forget to subtract the starting number from the ending number. So for example, if I start at 1 inch and the other end of what we're measuring shows 10 inches, then that length is actually 9 inches. So don't forget and mark it down as 10. Saw blades have a certain thickness to them, and that thickness that they cut away in wood is called a kerf. So a saw blade's thickness is the kerf, and that slot that they cut out of a piece of wood is also called a kerf. If I make a mark that represents the width of a board I need, that means I need to keep everything from the mark over. So if I line up the saw right over that line, then part of the kerf of the blade is going to cut into the part that I want to keep. So I need to allow for that kerf and line up the outer edge of the blade teeth with the outer edge of the line. Sanding is one of those necessary evils that we just try to get through as fast as we can, or just skip it altogether. But your finished projects will never have that professional finished look until you learn how to approach sanding and take the time to do it well. Sand incrementally, especially if you're starting with a rougher surface. So all that means is that you sand with a lower grit, around 80, and then go up incrementally. So an example would be start with 80, follow that up with 120, and then finish with 220. Also, don't sand in one spot too long. You may have edges that aren't level and flush, and you'll be tempted to just sand in that one spot until it goes down. But that's a good way to get deep grooves and divots. A good strategy to sand thoroughly and evenly is to use a random orbit sander and mark all over the area with a pencil. Once the pencil mark is removed in an area, move on and don't sand that area anymore until you've removed all of the pencil marks in your sanding area, and then you're ready for a second pass. Woodworking plans usually include a cut list, and that's just a list of all the pieces in a project and their dimensions. I include a cut list with all my woodworking plans. But this list should be for reference only. Don't go and cut all these pieces at the same time. The reasoning behind this is because you'll make small mistakes in measuring and cutting and joining the pieces together, because we're all human after all. And these small mistakes will compound until you need slightly different measurements from what's on the cut list. The best way to account for this human error that we're all guilty of is to reference measure. Start by using the cut list for the first couple of pieces, and then as you dry assemble the project, measure the length you need as you go by just holding the next piece up there and making a mark, or measuring the length with a tape measure. Don't forget that if you want to know the tools you need to start woodworking, or if you're just looking for some free plans, those links are down below. Head over to one of these videos and I'll see you over there.